Good evening, everybody. You are watching Zoomer Free Press Live, episode number 2. Today we have, not Relay today, but we have Cool Cats. Say hello.
That's my channel.
Yeah,
Not a cat boy.
not a cat, not a cat boy, but, definitely a boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, this show has a strict no transgender rule. So, what are we going to be talking about today, Con?
We're gonna be talking about Australia's fires. Qasim Soleimani, the guy that was just killed in the strikes in Iran.
Yeah.
And let's see what else. Nick Fuentes' cat boy situation.
Well, he put it perfectly. Now, should we wait a little bit, or should we, wait, get right into it?
I guess we'll get right into it.
All right, let me pull it up really quick. Give me one quick second. I still, I apologize, but I did, and I will admit, I did kind of rush a little bit trying to get this stuff together. But, it seems so far things are actually going, a lot better than I expected so far. And, let's just cut right to the chase. Now, here we have this article by CNN, and it says mass evacuations, banned barbecues, and sports events at risk. Deadly fires threatening Australia's way of life. Now, I know this may sound like, oh, it's just a fire, but I feel like the media has been quite hypocritical about this situation. Now, how is this true? I will explain, but you know, let's just get right into it because the Amazon fire, which you guys may know happened earlier this year, or not this year, last year, but
I think
it
there were fires, but weren't they somewhat exaggerated?
yeah, and this is and that's what I'm going to talk about. But let me read this article by CNN. Okay. Australia Prime Minister Scott Morrison may have thought a visit to the fire ravaged town would help boost his image after a series of stumbles in handling the country's bushfire crisis. That plan backfired Thursday in Cabarroga, in the state of New South Wales, where residents made no bones about their anger. You wouldn't be getting any votes down here, buddy. You're an idiot who votes Liberal round here. Nobody, no Liberal votes. You're out soon. You're out. You are out, one man said, referring
Not
to
taking
Morris's Conservative Party, according to the footage from a CNN affiliate 9 News. Go on, piss off. Now, we're not done with the article, but that's some pretty based Australia IRL shit posting. What do you say?
Isn't this man from the Conservative Party?
Uh, yeah, but he's like, oh, you vote Liberal. It's kind of funny. I haven't really looked into the Australia's Prime Minister's voting, but yeah, it's
Maybe
it.
he's a fake conservative.
Yeah, that's kind of funny. Um, who knows?
Guess
Another,
we'll be seeing a sharp decline in shitposting until the fires stop.
yeah. Let's see. Going on. Another woman called the Australian leader a dickhead, while yet another said she would only shake his hand if he agreed to give more money to the country's volunteer firefighters. The embarrassed prime minister could do anything but get back in his car and drive away. And then,
I love how you know brazen these people are.
yeah, that's what I noticed. They're like,
Like they're just cursing him down.
yeah, and on Twitter, liberals be screaming at the president, but in real life, they're scared. Those dang, those dang liberals. I sound like a boomer right now. But anyway, deadly blazes have torn through the huge swaths of Australia's east and south coast for months. Now, in the most brutal fire season seen in years across the country, 23 people have been killed, and about 6 million hectares, 23,000 square miles of bushland around the same size of Croatia have burned out. The devastation and persistent cloud of toxic smoke hanging over major towns and cities are begging the question: can Australia's ways of life go on?
Are you streaming Are you streaming the article Like
Just like the headline. I'm not like scrolling through the article.
because in the pictures it looks almost as if they're photoshopped red. That's how hot it is over there, I guess,
Yeah.
because the sky is
You would
turned
think,
red over.
yeah, it's like is I'm thinking of like it's like Saints Row, but
Yeah,
but it's a terrible situation. Jokes aside, it's terrible. That people are dying. I think actually, which is I'm gonna talk about later. More people died.
firefighter has died in a bushfire.
Yeah, more people are dying in this fire than the Amazon rainforest. Anyway, Morrison could be in trouble over the crisis. He was forced to return from a family holiday when the Australian media questioned why he was vacationing in Hawaii, as so much of the country burned. He took weeks to declare a state of emergency, releasing highly controversial religious discrimination bill at a news conference instead, while journalists fired through questions at him over a lack of funding for volunteer fighter fighters. Wow, man, this we talk about in a comparison to American politics, whenever the press talks to the president, they just kind of like uh almost like passive aggressive. But Australia, they're not afraid to like call the president out for like who he is. I wish the press was almost as based, and just the people in general. Like you see the people are like saying, "Oh, he's a dickhead," which is admittedly kind of funny. But anyway,
People don't. The press doesn't call out our president for the right things.
now this is kind of a weird part where they try to relate it to climate change. Morrison, once a climate change skeptic who initially sang praises to a lump of coal in the Australian Parliament, should be worried about what people think of him in towns like Cabagaro. The constituency has swung between the Liberal Party and its centre-left Labour several t- several times since the 1940s, and I'm sorry, and is one of Australia's most reliable bellwether seats. Most Australians want tougher action on climate change. According to the Australian Institute of Climate of the National Survey, some 81% of Australians are concerned that global warming will result in more droughts and flooding, while 64% think Australia should have a national target for net zero carbon emissions by 2050. Now, an interesting thing is I'm pretty sure Australia, their carbon emissions has been going down. I mean, I know the U.S. and Europe has because of like the Paris Climate Accord, but it's pretty interesting to see. But yeah, so as you can see, it describes It's like a picture of a father holding his daughter. So okay, here we go. Yet this concern doesn't seem to translate at the ballot box. Australia has voted for a conservative Liberal National Coalition government with a poor record on climate change for the last 3 elections, even reinstating Morrison as leader last May. And then Australia lacks a robust climate change policy, while the Morrison government stands accused of trying to use accounting trickery to meet the country's emission reduction targets under the Paris Agreement, targets that critics have say are too low in the first place. Well, it also commits to a new fossil fuel projects. So I mean, again, which is relating back to the overall climate and what I'm gonna say later. It's really interesting to see climate change this, but I noticed in the media that it isn't as emphasized. Again, I just feel like this inclusion of climate change in this article is just for the purpose of padding it out, so they can get
I
more
don't know. It
clicks.
sounds, according to the article, it kind of sounds like the citizens actually think this is a concern.
Yeah,
So it's relevant because it's relevant to the people.
yeah.
I,
But it'll be interesting to see, like, after this whole situation is blown over, or well, even if it does. I want to see these poll numbers because again, you have to consider that this fire. I haven't really actually read into the causes. I just read into the fact that it is happening. doesn't really mention how it was started. You know, if it was related to, like, if it just started up as a brush fire. Maybe it could have. You know.
Um, I guess people are just saying it's related to climate change because it's making everything hotter.
Yeah, because again, that's
Well,
probably what it probably has really nothing to do with climate change, if not like anything. You know, because from what I'm reading here, it's just saying, well, oh, the fire's big, and again, they completely avoid the causes of the fire in this article, and mentions it tries to divert to climate change. You know, beach. The beaches look. They have this section called "Beaches Look Like War Zones," and it's like, oh man, because of climate change, quote unquote, it's making these beaches look like crap. You know.
hmm.
And it's saying better known beaches like Bondi and Sydney have been unswimmable for much of the summer as the air quality soared to hazardous levels. Many commuters now don face masks like they do in Beijing, which experts say do little to keep the toxins out. Again, it's like saying climate change. Again, this doesn't really change the cause of this, which is kind of sketchy if you ask me. What do you have to say about this, Colin?
You know, I'm not a scientist, so I don't know.
But like,
Climate change is probably BS, but
well, maybe there is like some element of it, but I feel like the
or
effects
like
are,
man-made climate change.
but the overall effects are highly exaggerated.
Yeah, I think it's just a tool to like increase immigration and
Yeah,
weaken the
and
West again.
it was kind of funny, which is now I'm gonna give my little 2 cents about this. Obviously this is terrible that people are dying, but I feel like you know it's crazy. This story, which it is quite important, but it's not like it's kind of gives how can I put this? It's kind of funny that in a news cycle, because I remember earlier in 20, well, I would say mid to late 2019, you had El Paso, and then you had the Amazon rainforest fire. Now, they made a lot of fuss about the Amazon rainforest fire, and yet I don't even think there was a death toll. And if there was a death toll, I think it's not by, it was by firefighters working there and not actual citizens.
I remember all the hysteria, like all the Instagram stories and stuff,
Save the Amazon, use
but
metal
it wasn't even
straws.
that bad.
Yeah,
Like their fires were trending, less damaging, weren't they?
yeah. I'm checking right now. And if you Google, by the way, Amazon rainforest fire death toll, it doesn't even, it actually covers up and says animals. It says 2.3 animals. But if you want to go by animals, I think way more animals have died in these fires. So here it says 23 million. No, not 23. 2.3 million. Now let's see. In the Australia fire death toll, it says but then it shows the actual death of human life. But if you check animals here, it says 480 million animals, which is pretty large, It's a pretty significant number. But again, there is no actual human death toll for the Amazon rainforest fire. This fire has been more. I think this is like Amazon rainforest fire times 10, because millions of animals have died. It's almost 500 million. 20 humans have died, and guess what, Con?
What?
This is not getting as much buzz as the Amazon, because it doesn't really play into the climate change narrative. The only reason why there's the climate change thing there is because it attracts because when you search up like climate change, you'll like show up in search results, but also to pad out the article for time. And I think that's just absolutely disingenuous of the media, because the two main stories happening, which we're going to talk about next, the Iranian situation,
And the cat boy situation.
yeah,
I'm excited for that one.
yeah, two truly high casualties, definitely, but
Might get us blacklisted.
I don't
You
think we
know,
will. I mean, we're not.
leftist media is gonna blacklist us for speaking the truth about cat boys.
It's one thing you talk about the truth about Iran, but it's another thing when you start mentioning cat boys.
Yeah, PC culture gone too far when you get blocked for talking about cat boys.
Yeah, but again, I
But
just to close
I
off.
haven't actually been blocked. I'm kidding.
Yeah, but to close off and then we're gonna take a break. I just want to say that again, the media's portrayal of this event has definitely been quite disingenuous. The inclusion of climate change ultimately isn't necessary because it doesn't really relate back to the main subject, and it wasn't as much of a big deal and then as the Amazon rainforest. So Khan, you have anything to close off, and then I'm going to we're gonna take a small break, and then we're gonna be right back.
Um, no, not really.
All right, well that's this segment. We're going to
That
move
was
on to
my thoughtful, insightful comment there.
yeah. It's the Nordic gamer meme. So, do you have anything insightful to say?
Nope.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna be back. I'd say 8. We'll come back. We'll be back 8. I don't know 8. We'll be back 8:40. Does this give you enough time, Con?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we'll be back
Like
8:40.
8 minutes.
So zoomerfreepress.rf.gd. We are back. Zoomer Free Press live, episode 2. Zoomerfreepress.rf.gd. Now, we are on our next segment here. We're going to be discussing the situation in Iran. Now, the title is kind of disingenuous of the stream. We're like
World War III drafts. Oh my god.
but that's just just to I apologize. Just for attention. But yeah, the situation has been quite intense. So far, what we have, the ambassador from the Iranian ambassador to the United Nations, saying that it's an act of war. Military planes. If you look on radars, you can see that military planes are coming out into the U.S. and heading into Iraq and Iran. What else? I mean, it's been there's been protests at the embassy, and it's quite a horrific situation. Now, I know this all looks like, oh, this is like a U.S. 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 and Iran, and global war on terror #2. Now, let's be honest. Neocons and, to be more specific, John Bolton have been talking about supposed threats to Israel, and one of these the biggest threat to Israel is Iran,
and particularly Iran getting nuclear weapons. Maybe.
Yeah,
they've been kind of worried about that.
Yeah, so which is one of the things I'm going to talk about when I'm done reading this article. But it's been quite an intense situation over there in the Middle East. Syria, they're starting to say come out and say stuff. Israel. Speaking of which, I gotta give you a neat little fact about U.S. and Israel and Iran and this situation, to be specific. But I'm going to read the article now. This is CBS, by the way, so it's it's a pretty short, which is good, so I can get done with this segment and move on to the next thing. But yeah, so what you need to know, this is CBS. Qasem Soleimani, the head of Iran elite Quds military force and one of the most powerful figures in the Islamic Republic, Iran, was killed early Friday in the airstrike in Baghdad. Thousands of people marched Saturday in a funeral procession through the Iraqi capital. Now, why protests in Iraq? Well, because there's actually U.S. military assets. There's the embassy in the capital city, and also there's airports, which I think,
and
which is
we did this because the Pentagon claimed that this guy was going to attack the embassy, right? Something to that.
Well, no. I think there was something with that, but there was demonstrations held, which I retweeted on my Twitter at @TheBaseZoomer. If you're not following, please follow. I posted. I retweeted a tweet by the embassy, saying that not to go towards the embassy due to the fact that there was violent demonstrations. No one died. I'm pretty sure there was some injuries, but
I'm pretty sure Canada, aren't they urging their citizens to leave Iraq and Iran?
Yeah, and I think their military is starting to get worried. But anyway, the White House sent a formal notification to Congress about the airstrike that killed Soleimani under the War Powers Act, CBS News has confirmed. President Trump said on Friday that the action was taken to stop a war with Israel. Now, he didn't actually say that. He just said to stop a war, but that's probably what he meant. Well, in Minecraft, of course, obviously. He said Soleimani was plotting an and sinister attacks on American diplomats and military personnel and Israel in Minecraft. But we caught him in the act and terminated him.
In Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, he did get actually terminated. The Defense Department blamed Soleimani for the deaths of hundreds of Americans and said he was behind recent attacks on coalition bases in Iraq, including one on December 27th that killed an American defense contractor. Did you notice something about that? It was a contractor, not an actual soldier. But anyway.
Still pretty bad.
Yeah. This strike drew a vow of crushing revenge from Iran. The State Department told Americans in Iraq to leave the country immediately, and U.S. troops in the region are on high alert. And again, we know this because if you look on flight radars, you can see military planes heading towards the region. Lawmakers are divided over the strike, with Republicans applauding Mr. Trump's actions, and the Democrats warning about the possible repercussions. Follow live updates below. So, do you have any takeaways from that, Con?
On what specifically?
What each party thinks.
I think that, it's good that Qasem Soleimani is dead, since he killed those Americans, but I'm worried that this will escalate into like some sort of war.
Yes, I know.
We've already like imposed a lot of tariffs on Iran.
Yeah.
So.
And it's kind of ironic considering that the fact that we pulled out of the Iranian nuclear deal, but well, I do think that the killing was kind of abrupt, because especially the fact that president actually didn't brief Congress. They briefed a certain
Israel.
Yeah, I was gonna hint towards it. We have here from which I don't have pulled up on screen, which I should. It's from Raw Story. Trump administration briefed Israel on this Soleimani attack before it briefed Congress. Report. I'm going to pull that up. So, Con, let me ask you something. Do you think you said that the killing was good, but what do you think is the effects of it? Because you said repercussions. Do you think anything specifically that'll come in the near future?
Yeah, we can't kill like their general and not expect some sort of retaliation.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think the way it was carried out, especially, we couldn't. I think we should have at least forewarned, and we shouldn't have done it as provoked as we did it. So. Yeah, that's all really I have to say. Again, I have pulled up on screen an article here. Raw Story. Trump administration briefed Israel on Soleimani attack before it was briefed to Congress. Now, again, that says a lot because in the past.
To Congress, I think you misspoke.
Yeah, no, I said Trump administration briefed Israel on the Soleimani attack before it briefed Congress.
Oh, okay.
So, this is obviously going to happen eventually. Because, well, one, neocons, and more specifically John Bolton and other neocons within the administration and within Trump's circles were saying that Iran was a big threat to Israel. Not only that, we were also in the topic that Israel also, after 9/11, Israel warned the U.S. about nuclear weapons, and the same thing is almost happening. Israel told the administration, and then the administration, was with pressure by Bolton. And, but Bolton's out. Well, he still has quite a big influence, and there's it's not like he's the only neocon in the administration.
Yeah, pretty much every Republican's a neocon.
Yeah, and Congress was pressuring him. Eventually, he was going to do this. Not only that, we have here, we have Pompeo has even mentioned saying that, God may have sent Trump to save Israel from Iran, which is kind of ironic that because Jews aren't God's chosen people.
That's kind of a dangerous way of thinking that he was sent by God.
Yeah. Not only that, again, you know, we have here by the Haaretz, Netanyahu's Iran dilemma, getting Trump to act without putting Israel on the front line. And again, if you're noticing a pattern, this is all about trying to defend Israel. You know, I hear something by boomers saying, "Oh, he's just doing it to get reelected." I don't think Bush did it.
Nah, that's not gonna be popular,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
In fact, I think because it depends. Because if he wanted to do that, he would have to phrase it, well, I defended Israel, right? And then especially evangelicals, they're gonna like love that. You know,
I think it'd be more popular if he did it ostensibly for America.
yeah,
Like, I defended America.
you know, he wouldn't, and I hear, well, he just did it so he can get reelected. Again, he would. I just did it for my personal interest, or which is kind of stupid. No,
I think he did it to get money.
for Israel, and plus in the past he was influenced, and he even told Israel before Congress knew about it, so there has to be some sort of third party at force, and not the Libertarian Party, and it's not actually a party, the America Israel lobby. So again, what can we expect? Well, what would probably happen? Now, Iran isn't stupid. They're not just gonna defend U.S. Not defend, but they're not gonna carry out attacks against U.S. bases, embassies. Because basically we have military bases in almost every country except parts of Africa and Asia.
Maybe North Korea.
Yeah, North Korea. Yeah, and somewhere else. But we have bases everywhere. We have ships and we have embassies everywhere. So they're not going to do that. What's most likely going to happen if Iran were the first first person to act in a war is most likely they would be they would be going to Saudi Arabia and attacking our oil fields because Aramco's there, and there's a lot of interest in it. Because technically, if not Israel, but if Iran were to do that, we can also say that Iran directly attacked U.S. assets, and then we can use that as defense towards a ground invasion on Iranian soil.
That'll be very convenient for us.
And Israel.
Or not convenient for us, but for the neocons.
Neocons and Israel,
Because being in support of the country is patriotic, but not necessarily being in support of the government,
Yeah. So, to close off, again, neocons are in the administration, and hopefully, if Trump doesn't fix it out, I think a lot of America First patriots who voted for him are going to vote. Are just not going to vote. But who else is going to keep voting?
I get Ben Shapiro's vote this time.
Yeah, but I still think I'm pretty sure Jews more voted to not Jews, but well, actually, yeah, but Zionists actually donated more to the Hillary Clinton campaign. So, but now with these acts to try to almost appease the Zionist of America, the organization and actual Zionist of America, in American soil. Yeah, he's just trying to win over votes. So the America First Patriot bloc is gone. The same boomers, the Israel our greatest ally type
The
people.
armchair generals.
They're just gonna be even more ecstatic about this, And
the ones that don't have to fight in the war.
Yeah. And I thought something else that was pretty interesting was that World War III was trending a lot, so that's why I decided to choose it as the title. Some people are making jokes about it, but unironically, people might be drafted or at least asked to serve against Iran. Because, because if the neocons are able to pull off Iran war, things are gonna get serious, because it's not just gonna be U.S. and Iran. This is gonna be Saudi Arabia, EU, UK, Israel, of course, and Syria, and then there's like a bunch of factions and proxies. It's gonna be a big mess. And overall, war with Iran would just be plain political suicide and just a bad idea at all. We don't want Afghanistan too. And
Yeah.
yeah, Khan, do you have anything to say?
Um, God bless Israel.
No, but actually.
No. Nordic Gamer, no.
Okay, we're gonna take another break. We'll be back at
The virgin researcher versus the Chad don't know anything about the topic.
we're gonna take another break. We'll be back at 8:55 EST. ZoomerFreePress.rf.gd. We are back, Zoomer Free Press, episode 2. And if you want to catch our website, zoomerfreepress.rf.gd. Now, the final subject of tonight is Nick Fuentes. Now, again, I don't like talking about e-drama because usually it's pretty petty most of the time, but, again, because, like, this show is within the movement and, like, within the circles of the movement, I guess it is relatively helpful to talk about these subjects and to address them, as well as comment on them, because it's good content, for one. I'm not gonna lie about that, and two, it's a issue concerning the overall movement. So to I'm sorry, I apologize. To bring you up to speed, Nick Fuentes and this man named Catboy Kami, I believe, went on a 10-hour date. Now, I know that sounds pretty bad, and, especially because I said date. Now, first things first, the rumor was mainly perpetuated by lefty Pole and Reddit leftists. Now, we're not on good terms with those people, but, you know, they were, in some ways, and I'm going to say this explicitly, in some ways, they were correct, you know, because they were trying to make the connection that, you know, because in the intro of Nick Fuentes' show, he says, "No e-girls never," but then says, apologies, says, you know, cat boys are awesome. Like, it probably doesn't explicitly say cat boys are awesome, but, you know, something along the lines of it. But, anyways, so what happens is that, you know, they go on this with this whole situation, I feel like not a lot of people have actually talked about right now the discussion is, you know, Nick Fuentes is gay, or like cat boys, like, no, like cat boys are based, you know, so, you know, that's retarded, right? So let me bring you up to speed about Kami himself, you know, because it's a really interesting case. So, you know, Kami, he grew up poor, so, you know, again, this is all from what I'm hearing. Again, none of this is confirmed, perhaps, but definitely do take my word with a grain of salt. But definitely do listen and consider the facts. Or can I really say facts? Again, this is all reports. But anyway, so, you know, Kami, he grew up poor, you know, and he didn't really have a good family life. Eventually, you know, he moved on. He got jobs here and there. You know, he gets himself out of poverty, and then he, you know, gets an apartment. You know, he gets fit, which, I mean, we can't lie about. I mean, he clearly is. And you know, he I guess becomes red pilled, and then he starts posting this stuff on Twitter and other social media platforms, which, again, what he's saying is actually unironically pretty based, but, you know, it's kind of oversaturated by the whole catboy stuff. You know, again, supposedly he like got big into Bitcoin, and then like got profit a lot about it, you know. And around the time he started to do that, Bitcoin was pretty profitable, so can't blame you on that. You know, so he got in a relationship with a transgender person. Then they broke up. Then he made a channel called Lolly Socks, and, you know, he got supposedly, you know, made for the purpose of telling people about Jews, which, you know, again, is kind of a vague thing, but, you know, whatever. Because you can either be a little bit more suspicious. Goodness gracious, I am so sorry. I apologize. You know, which, again, you have to be really specific on what you mean by the Jews and, you know, what they do. And, you know, he gets banned everywhere, you know, and this is confirmed, except DLive, which is kind of funny. He's sharing a platform with him. But, you know, he does like a bunch of streams, you know, he talks to people, you know, whatever the case may be, you know, and then, you know, as a new channel, you know, you want to try to get popular. Now, I can say from personal experience, you know, yeah, you kind of want to have to branch out a bit, you know, do some things. So, you know, he adapts this catboy persona, and not specifically catboy, but also like anime girl clothes. You know, this, I wouldn't even say persona, just, you know, doing it just because. I mean, you know, he did a lot of stunts, like with the pouring milk in a store on himself while wearing anime girl clothes. And then he went through the mall, and he, you know, did the Joker challenge, and like he ran through a mall with Joker makeup on, and like said, you know, despite making 13% of the population, blacks commit over 52% of the crime. You know, all two things, which the first one, you know, that didn't really work. The second one, I guess you can kind of work, because I did see it on, you know, while doing research. I saw it featured in a meme compilation, but, you know, then again, the people who make it usually don't get the clout. It's usually the meme compilation channel. You know, again, you know, he's still sitting at 2,000 subscribers, and, you know, eventually, you know, he fully adapts the catboy like the catboy online persona, and you know, does this so he can avoid bans, which is actually kind of smart in a way, you know, because you know, if he was banned, you can say it was for homophobia, which again, he probably isn't banned for homophobia, but because it, like, on paper, what you're like banning this gay D live person, D live streamer, and content creator just because they're gay. That's pretty homophobic. The average person would say. But obviously he's doing it to evade bans, which is again pretty clever. But I think that's a bit much. I'll say. Now, this is again with the speculation is like surrounding the whole issue. Supposedly, he finds Nick Fuentes, and he gets in contact with him, tries to they like have exchanges, and they again, as a small YouTuber, again 2,000 subs, don't have many Twitter followers, trying to get in contact with him, and it's like a mutual benefit. I guess his viewers can go watch his Nick's stuff, and Nick's viewers can go watch Kami's, because again he like has this persona, but then he also says based things, and I've actually personally read his Twitter, and some of it was kind of based, and some of it was kind of like I don't know how to put it, maybe not the best things to put on public forums like Twitter, but anyway, eventually supposedly he pays Nick Fuentes, and pays Nick Fuentes to be able to stream, which is now the clip that has him featured, where he goes to a 10-hour date in quotation marks with Nick Fuentes, and they just chilled out. And from what they were saying, I was like skimming through, they didn't do, so from what I saw, they didn't really do any homosexual acts. They didn't do anything gay. I mean, maybe they could have said something, maybe it was like a joke. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't know. I didn't watch the full thing in its entirety. I mean, if I did, that would be a really painful process. But again, with this, paying this big YouTuber to shout out. Well, maybe not even necessarily shout out, but to get featured, you get popular, which is quite common, and it usually happens with whenever big channels get in contact with smaller channels, and that smaller channel usually receives a small boost, or sometimes it could be really big boost. But anyway, so now what we have now is the two factions of people. We have Lefty Pulse like, oh, Nick's gay, got him, but then we have this other one, we have this other faction, it's like, oh no, you're stupid, cat boys are based, and it's like, well, first of all, Nick Fuentes isn't gay, again, the e-girls thing is agreeable. I mean, I wouldn't, mess around with e-girls, and I don't think anyone with that sort of online presence would, because again, because if things don't go a certain way, then that e-girl or whoever actually, will come out and say, levy allegations, which may not necessarily even be true, but because they have that, well, I was like with this person, so I would know that leverage, that causes, that belief. Well, wow, X person did this. Well, they must be the person saying this must be true, and eventually that causes a really big downward spiral for the person who was dating or with the other e-girl. Excuse me, just having a drink here. So now, however, I think the justification is that we we can't just be like, oh, he was just chilling with his bro. I mean, it seemed he was. However, if you're going to portray yourself with this tradcath this tradcath persona, like I'm I'm a Zoomer, I'm traditional, and I'm Catholic, and I'm a gamer, which is no one's disputing the gamer, but if you're out here associating yourself, it's like, and then someone's gonna be like, oh, like guilt by association. But again, in a sense, you can't really surround yourself with that, again, because again, what Catboy Kami was doing, or just Kami, he was on his YouTube channel, he like posts like borderline pornography, like not just posting it, but his thumbnails and titles were pretty suggestive, and giving that, again, he doubling down on the Catboy thing, making it seem as if as if, wow, this thing, I can see the concern where Nick says no e-girls, and he likes cat boys. Because in the clips, I've seen clips where Nick is like, oh, cat boys are cool. He doesn't actually say it, but he likes something along the lines of cat boys are better than e-girls, cat boys are superior. So, but with that, I would see why someone would make that correlation, and sorry, I'm again, this is e-drama, so it's not like I could just read an article about it, But again, Kami, from what we know, has a girlfriend and is straight, and he's just playing this persona. There's no really strong evidence for the case that Nick is gay. Again, however, this like it's just ironic, dude. Like cat boys are based. It's like it's kind of a cope. I'm not gonna lie and say it is based. And it's like no, it's kind of a cope. Again, well, Nick for the most part is in the clear, but I feel like definitely probably would have been a better idea if the interaction was private, because again, with if you have your clips out there, anyone can take that out of context, and if you say things, could make correlations which may not necessarily be true. So good optics, not necessarily, but is Nick gay? No, he is not. And I guess to finish that off, as this sounds pretty weird, but well, I wouldn't say weird, but morely as more so kind of off. It's as as a paleoconservative community, it almost like the LGBT community now, but it's like as a movement there, as a movement, we gotta get with the right people. We have to associate ourselves with the right people. It's like if Nick Fuentes were to be starting to hang out with Destiny, or I don't know, whoever else could be. Now again, Nick has hung out with other people in the past, but that doesn't make it necessarily, because those other people haven't like he's been with Milo in the past, and it was like, oh, Nick is gay. But again, Milo, that's not the point. It was for debate and such. But we see here now that with this out here, this clip, I could see why people would make the correlation. And again, to close off, which I've said that like 3 times already, but again, I apologize. Nick isn't gay, though it was not really optical to hang out with someone who portrays himself as a degenerate. And yeah, I guess I hope everyone enjoyed the stream. It was a bit short, or at least it felt like it. Relay could not be here today. Hopefully we can get him tomorrow for the Sunday stream. Khan could not be here for the last segment, and again, I apologize for that. And I just hope everyone had a good stream. Hope everyone had a good New Year's week. I mean, I know I did. It was pretty low key, but whatever the case may be. And yeah, keep yourself safe, and optics. Just remember optics.